Hello everyone, today's video is going to be on the importance of self-care. If you've ever been in an aeroplane and they're going through all the emergency procedures, they'll always tell the parent to put the mask on first and then put the mask on their child. And that's a very important part, because if you put the mask on the child first and then it's too late for you, and you can't help, and it's more important that you put the mask on yourself and then you're able to help your child. So it's very important that in life that we do have self-care so that we can be able to help others, so that we can support others, because if we don't, then we burn out, we don't cope with life. Life just gets too stressful because we're always giving, and not taking time out for us to recharge ourselves. I mean, even, in the Bible, Jesus took time out to pray and, gather himself, because, crowds were around him a lot. So, there's different aspects to self-care. You've got your mental self-care. You've got your emotional self-care, you've got your physical self-care, you've got your social self-care, and you've got your spiritual self-care. So caring for ourselves, self-care is very important, because it helps us re-establish balance and avoid burnout, as I said before. And self-care is the mechanism of recalibrating and getting in touch with our ability to play. A lot of us have forgotten our ability to play. So very important to play and have fun, to laugh each day and to smile, and to relax and connect. It's so important. And taking time out to do what we enjoy, that also is, just makes us feel so much better when we do things that we really enjoy. And stepping outside for a few minutes, to get some fresh air, having good sleep. Sometimes we might need more self-care in some of those areas, specific areas, to restore balance or find relief from a stressor in life. So yeah, self-care is just such an important thing when you're going through stressful situations in life. And self-care is a conscious act to promote physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional health to ourselves, and to build resilience towards life stresses, that we can't always avoid. These things happen in life. And taking care of our mind and our body to better equip us to live our best life, which is really important, because we don't want to stress and burn out and not cope with life. Self-care really needs to be a priority in our lives. I think so many of us don't do that, and that's why we end up getting sick and burnt out and, not coping with life. And, and if we're feeling overwhelmed, and tired, and then of course we're going to be ill-equipped to deal with, the challenge that life does dish out from time to time. Now I'll go a bit into detail into each one, like the mental self-care. The way we think and the things that we are filling our minds with, they actually do greatly influence our physiological well-being. So it's very important to be mindful of what you watch on TV or at the movies, or what books you read, or what music you're listening to, because some is not good for us at all. And it does affect our psychological well-being, as I said. So practicing that self-compassion and acceptance also helps to maintain a healthier inner dialogue, because things in life happen, and when we resist it and fight against it, it just makes it worse, and and then symptoms persist because we're fighting it. But instead, when we accept the symptoms going on in our body and what's going on in life, then we have that inner, calmness in us, It just makes a huge difference when we accept the things that we can't change and, embracing the things that we can change. When things are out of our control, it is what it is. And we just got to move on in our life and make the best of everything and, help these situations in life help us to become a better and stronger person and not let it bring us down, and that's so important. And a lot of mental self-care includes things like keeping our mind sharp, always learning something, like learning a language, keeping it active, because we don't want to lose our cognitive decline. So it's very important that we do things, like I said, learning a new language, learning something new, reading informative books where you learn things, do things like puzzles, Sudoku, wood puzzles, word searches, crossword puzzles, jigsaw puzzles, anything that helps us, stay focused on something that really stimulates the limbic system and keeps our brains sharp, and it fuels us. Watching inspirational movies and that fuel the mind, hobbies like woodwork, crocheting, knitting, art and craft, word puzzles, like I said, drawing, colouring in, DIY projects. There's just so many things that, we can do to keep our mind active and alert and preventing the cognitive decline. So questions we've got to ask ourselves: are we making enough time for activities that mentally stimulate ourselves? We've got to be making time for that in our lives. And are we doing proactive things to help us stay mentally healthy? So these are things that we want to, really focus on with the mental self-care. Now for the emotional self-care, this is vitally important. Having healthy coping skills is vitally important, to deal with the storms of life. And anger and anxiety and sadness and fear, these are all normal emotions that shows that we're human. And, since I've joined Reorigin, I now know that this is normal for us to feel these emotions in life. We don't have to try and resist them or push them away or, fight against them. We should just let them be and, it's just let them realise that, hey, I'm feeling anger right now, or I'm feeling fear right now, or I'm feeling anxiety or stress right now. Let it flow. Don't resist it, don't fight it, just let it pass on through, because, we're human. We're supposed to have these emotions, and, if you're going through something, a storm in life, it's quite normal to feel these emotions. So, let them just be. They're not dangerous. They're just chemicals in our brain, and they're just temporary and benign and just passing through. So I'm not afraid to let fear and anxiety and sadness and anger just push through. It's like what we do with it is the key. If we just let it pass on through and not let it dictate our day, if we're still, I might feel like this right now, but I'm still going to have a good day. I'm still going to do things that, help me to be happy, regardless of whether I feel sad or angry, and it'll just pass on through. I mean, I grew up in a society where, you don't express your emotions, you bottle them all in, you don't cry or anything like that, you bottle it all in, so that's why so many of us find it hard to cry. And since joining Reorigin to do my brain training, Neuroplasticity, I've done so much crying over these months, all this bottled up emotions, all this bottled up crying, that has been bottled up has just been released, and I feel incredible. I feel amazing. I feel light. I feel free, because I'm no longer carrying the heavy baggage of all these, trapped emotions and stuff, and when the nervous system feels safe, that's when it releases these emotions out. So I'm always welcoming when all these emotions come out, and the Bible says God stores up all our tears in a bottle up in heaven, and I just find that pretty powerful. So if you're someone who's struggling to cry, whether you be male or female, just give it time. Let it know. The healing properties of crying is huge. What's not healthy is holding it in, and I know that for a fact. Like I said, all these years I've been bottling it in. Now that I'm finally letting it out, the healing's taking place within myself, and I just praise God for that. So you need to cry. The health benefits of it, and it gets you into the parasympathetic state, which is that rest and digest, rest and heal state, and it actually acts as a pain reliever too, because you've got all those chemicals, the dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins, that help calm pain and inflammation too. So there's so much healing involved in crying. So that's another important part of, your emotional care, is letting these emotions flow through and not seeing them as dangerous or we've got to not deal with them. They're totally safe. And emotional self-care may also include activities that help us to acknowledge and express our feelings regularly and safely, like journaling. Sometimes I've got to get what's in my head out onto paper so I can get it out. So I'll, write it out on a journal so that I can get it out, and then I can pray and deal with it, and God ministers to me and I'm able to cry and let it out. Or you could do by talking to a partner or a close friend about how you feel or what you're going through, someone that you feel safe with sharing all this information with, and they can pray for you. And emotional care, self-care, is also about asking for help when we need it. We struggle to do that, but we need to be proactive and asking for help when we need it, and that shows strength and that shows character. And setting aside time for leisure activities that help process our emotions too. Like, and very important to incorporate emotional self-care into our daily life, and, like having a soak in the bath with some music on with magnesium salts in there, and that's a good time to help when you're going through tough times. And just listening to that music and, just relaxing in that bath and maybe having some tea bags or cucumber on your eyes, just doing a bit of pampering, that's a really good thing to help with emotional care when you're going through things like that. And a gratitude list. Writing a gratitude list is huge. If you practiced gratitude every day, in 4 days, your immune system would have boosted so much, and your outlook in life would have changed so much. And it's biblical to show gratitude every day, and that's what I've been doing every day lately. I'm making sure that I'm showing gratitude every day. I'm laughing, I'm smiling. I've got a playlist on my channel here. If you want to go into my playlist and have a look, you'll see my laughing and smiling playlist, where I've got videos that make me laugh and smile. I've got my worship music playlist where I'll put on the music when I'm doing the dishes, or if I just want to have a good, praise and worship time, I'll have that on and I'll sing along, and, that just helps so much. So between all that and gratitude, it makes a huge difference, and, music really ministers to us. And like I said, journaling, loving yourself, having a relaxing soak in the bath with music on, or a relaxing foot bath. I personally like putting my feet into a nice magnesium bath. It's so relaxing. Having a massage. going for a walk in nature, going camping, reading a book, colouring in, crocheting, knitting, woodwork. As you can see, there's a bit of a theme here. All of these things sort of help with all our self-care, all these hobbies and stuff. You know, put your phone away for a couple of hours. Spend a day or a week off social media. Make a list of positive things in life and focus on those and being grateful. Sit in the sun. That is nice. I love sitting in the sun. Taking a deep breath. It's okay. Everything's okay. You know, that assurance. And as I said, smiling, laughing, get a hug. You can even hug yourself too. I do that a lot lately since joining my Reorigin. I give myself a hug and that gives me the dose chemicals, especially the dopamine. You know, you can also build a fort and curl up inside it and read a book. You know, remember people doing that when you're a kid, you know, building a fort. That's so much fun. You know, getting back to that play and fun. Do a small act of kindness to someone. Bring someone up and chat to them. You know, there's all these things that you can do that can boost your mood. You know, being thoughtful of others. And, you know, I think it's nice to send somebody a text or ring them up and say, you know, I really appreciate you. You know, I really appreciate everything you do, and I see that what you do, you know, really just lifts somebody's spirits up, you know. I think we don't do enough of that. So some questions that we can ask ourselves when it comes to emotional self-care. Do we have healthy ways to process our emotions? If not, we've got to fix that. We've got to tweak it. Do we incorporate activities into our life that help us to feel recharged? If not, we need to do that. So as I mentioned, you know, self-care is important. You know, for having an effective self-care routine has been shown to have a number of important health benefits. And that is reducing anxiety and depression, reducing stress and improving resilience, improving happiness, increasing energy while reducing burnout, promotes health while preventing disease, strong interpersonal relationships, helps us cope with illness and stresses of life, and helps us to live longer. So that's very important. All right, now let's move on to the physical self-care. Taking care of our body is also very crucial so that our body runs efficiently. And there is a strong connection between the body and our mind, as I'm sure you've heard. And, you know, we can think and feel better. That's another important thing to do too. So if we don't use our body, if we don't use our brain, if you don't use it, you lose it. You know, the limbic system, the neurons in there, they need to be always, you know, being stimulated to be kept active. Otherwise they stop functioning and it becomes dormant and you lose skills and stuff. And the same with the body. You've got to keep moving your body, which also stimulates the limbic system. So everything works in unity here. So if you're not doing much, if you're not doing anything, if you're bedridden, you can still do exercises. You know, you can you can go on YouTube and you can type in bed exercises for beginners. And, you know, you can do little, you know, certain movements in the bed to help stimulate your whole body. And that will help build you up step by step, step by step. You know, so that's very important to do things where you're moving your body, even if it's just little bits. And you might get a bit of kickback at first because, you know, new neurons have to, you know, start kicking into gear, and they've got all these neurons firing until you get more, you know, capable of doing it. And then, you know, not so many neurons will need to do it. So you've got to expect a bit of kickback when you start doing exercise, but start off small, you know, just start off with 1 or 2, you know, press things. Don't go on to a full routine, just start small and gradually build up. Start lower than you need to and then gradually build up, and then before long you'll be doing full routines like everyone else. Now, fueling our body with nutrient-dense, natural whole foods is vitally important, and drinking water. You know, like if you've got a car, you want to put the right fuel in, because if you don't, it will break down. Our cars, our bodies are similar to cars. We need to put the right fuel in, otherwise eventually our bodies will break down, and that's why there's so many sicknesses in this world, because of all the highly processed junk foods and everything, and the high carb intakes that people are taking. You know, it's too much for the body. So being mindful of that, and having a healthy sleep pattern and routine, that's also vitally important. And as I said, getting enough physical activity, not too much and not too little. You know, like I said, our limbic system loves movement and keeps it sharp. And caring for our physical needs, that's all part of it. Reminding yourself to breathe at times, because so many times we're not breathing, we're rapidly breathing, or it's not, we haven't got our breathing in that relaxed state. So we've got to remember to take time to monitor our breathing, make sure it's like, yes, we're calm. Remember to take those deep breaths. And dancing is fun too. Oh, I love dancing. Going for a walk in nature again. See, this plays its part, doesn't it? You can play as sports, go camping, bike ride, horse ride, canoeing, rock climbing if you're into it. Having a big clean out and reorganizing of your wardrobe or your cupboard or your house. That's another great thing to do. And of course, drinking water, get a hug again. Sit down in the sun, watch the sun rise and the sun set. That's also really good. DIY projects, make something special, daily personal care regime. There's so many things that we can do for our physical self-care. And some questions to ask: are you fueling your body with healthy, nutrient-dense whole foods and drinking water? Do you have good sleep hygiene? Are you taking charge of your health? Are you getting the right amount of exercise? So these are all questions that are vitally good for asking. And social care, this social self-care, that's another good one. Socializing is the key to caring. We're not meant to be an island living on our own. Even the Bible says we should be fellowshipping with one another, of course with God, but we should be fellowshipping with one another, because that's what helps each other's support. We need each other. We need each other's support. So socializing is a key to self-care. Finding safe, close connections that are important to our well-being. Cultivating and maintaining close relationship is to put time and energy into building relationships with others. We all have different social needs though, and we've got to be mindful of this. So figure out for yourself, your social needs first, and then build enough time and a schedule around that for optimal social life. And you can catch up with friends, you can visit a family member, you can join a local community like the local community garden. You can have fun playing sports, go to the movies or dinner with close connections, do a small act of kindness, email someone, FaceTime them, whether it be on Google Meet or Zoom or other. Call a friend and have a chat. And like I said, go to a local community event. There's just so many options that you can do. So some more questions to ask on that. Are you getting enough face-to-face time with people and your friends? Are you doing, what are you doing to nurture your relationships? Or are you, because sometimes we get too busy in our lives that all that gets waylaid and we forget about, nurturing our relationships, and then they sort of start to drift because we're not keeping in contact. So, and now the spiritual self-care. So I'll be, of course, coming from that from a Christian point of view. Vitally important to spend time with God, praying, reading the Bible, going to church, just really connecting and fellowshipping with other fellow believers. There's just so many things that you can do. Attend church events, and I think some churches go on camping trips from time to time throughout the year as well. So there's many other things that you can do. It's important because, we're body, mind, soul and spirit. We've got to keep all those, in check and in balance, because, if you're not nurturing all that, then that's not going to be very good at all, So I hope this video helps, encourages you with the self-caring, and that'll help you to look after yourself better, because I think it's hard for us sometimes to know what to do. It's not just, personal care, eating and sleeping. As I've shown you, it's a lot more to it. That's, we've got to take time out for ourselves so that we can help other people, and deal with life situations so much better. Anyway, God bless. Bye.